No wordy podcast intro today. I want to talk about how we keep up with trends and professional development. That's it. Everyone knows they should do it. That's important. However, I feel like it's something that's easy to forget about. And if you're doing, it's easy to let it slip, especially the longer you work or the busier you get. So we'll get into that. But first, this episode of Almost Productive Coffee Break is brought to you by Caperclip. Brothers and founders Devin and Bryce Thimbleton realized the obvious, that the paperclip industry is fundamentally broken. The paperclip as we know it today started in the 1890s, well before the internet was invented. Made with high-grade aluminum carbon alloy, 100% assembled in the USA, and sporting a lifetime guarantee, you can own the initial Foundation Series set of 5 clips for only $50. And don't forget to download the Caperclip app to register and activate your clips, as well as unlock extra savings. Visit caperclip.io today. Welcome to an Almost Productive Coffee Break, the same bold flavor of our original podcast brew in a single shot. Perfect for those times when you need a quick marketing pick-me-up. I'm Sean.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Addie.
And we are all marketing professionals at New Boston Creative Group in Manhattan, Kansas. So today I want to talk about how we keep up with trends and professional development specific to, obviously, the marketing industry, which probably, I don't know, more so than most, but as far as like it goes in industries, I think keeping up to date in marketing advertising is very important. There's a lot of changing fads, trends, technology. The good news is that if you're just sort of paying attention day to day, you're consuming media, you're on social media, you're watching TV, just being out in the world, you're going to be exposed to a lot of current marketing and advertising. So without having to seek it out, you can sort of already ingest what's going on. But obviously, you're going to need to dive further down for specific audiences, different mediums. So my question first for you guys is, what is your process for staying up to date on things? Is it something that you do daily, quarterly, yearly?
I would say on a broad level, following brands that you think have a good marketing strategy is a good place to start. So that can be interesting, especially ones that are very on top of trends or breaking news and make an effort to integrate that into their strategy. That's more day-to-day, like organic posting, but that can be a good place to get inspiration. And then more consistently, Julie and I both subscribe to a slew of email newsletters. So if you find a reputable source that you enjoy, that's a good one that'll hit your inbox, however, weekly, monthly, etc. And then this is more boring, but I would say like the Google Suite, we use Google Analytics and Google Ads and the Google Suite. So they sometimes update their videos on kind of the latest and greatest and how you can improve your efforts. And their videos sometimes are not super great or informative or easy to follow, but sometimes you strike gold and can learn some cool stuff.
They also have certifications that expire. And so every year, I actually just recertified recently on my Google Analytics certification. Even though it's something that I use often, that little credential is a built-in mechanism that they have.
Is there anything else that you do routinely, Julie, like daily to keep up, or is it the same as Addie?
Well, Addie mentioned newsletters, and I definitely I subscribe to probably too many. Sometimes I ignore them, but like I have a go-to whom I love for content marketing, one for analytics, one for using AI in marketing. There's another for AI in general. I got a guy for email. I got a guy for writing. You need a newsletter? I got your newsletter. It's over here. I read them. Maybe not every day, but a couple times a week, I'll kind of catch up on what's come in.
Yeah, I think it's similar for me. And it sort of cycles where I'll get really excited and sign up for a bunch of things. And then you start getting the emails and then you realize that's too many things. And then you unsubscribe from a few. But yeah, I think it's very helpful because, as I mentioned, I think it's hard to force yourself to keep up. Like you have to actively, go searching this stuff out for the most part. So if you can sign up for an email newsletter that's going to get sent to you on a monthly basis, great. That sort of hit your inbox and sort of forces you to read it. And so, yeah, I have one specific to website stuff that I think is really great. Another one that I use a lot is subscribing to and following people on different social media platforms who are, developers or designers or what have you, AI specialists who they're already collating that stuff and pushing it in their feeds, and I can sort of follow along. And I think that's a good way to sort of have little bits, maybe daily, depending on how often you check your social media.
Yeah, because it can be hard, like you said in the intro, Sean, to prioritize this when it's not technically client work or what we're specifically getting paid to do as marketers. But then the flip side of that is without the professional development, we won't be able to better help our clients on the other side. So sometimes I have to really force myself to have that perspective to sit down and intentionally do professional development.
Right, because I do feel like you kind of have to have it as a mindset of wanting to learn and improve. And it's something that when I was a student, like you just do naturally because you're like, oh, I suck. I need to get better. Here, let me follow all these people. Let's learn all these things. And then you get in the job and you just become consumed with doing the work. And it's easy to like fall behind on keeping up and learning new things. We touched on a few tools and resources such as newsletters and social media. Are there any other avenues that you guys use? Are there specific podcasts or things like conferences or webinars that you try to attend?
Definitely conferences and webinars. Not always the same ones, but if there's something that catches my eye or if there's a free event, I love a free event. Or sometimes, New Boston will have access. I shouldn't say that we share one login so we can all purchase things.
Right.
We do not do that.
Redacted.
Right. We pay a fair price for all of our access.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, that's really all I can think of. Sorry, that's not true. If there's specific platforms that you're using, like Canva, for instance, we use fairly often. They have platform-specific tutorials that you can try. So if there's, whether that's Canva or others, they usually within the tool have stuff for you.
Yeah. And sometimes their like big rollouts are informative. Sometimes it's self-celebratory and it's kind of boring. But the most recent Canva one, they introduced a lot of new features. So watching that, it's like, okay, wow, cool. Here are new and different things we can do with that. Yeah.
And I think it's gotten easier for the webinar conference area because everything is digitized now. So it used to be you had to fly to Boston to, be there 3 days to catch whatever sessions you wanted. But now everything is going to be online after the fact. So even though you may have to pay still a steep price, you get more time and more access to all these resources is really great. I know one of the web ones that I really enjoy, they do an annual conference, and I know like they're going to eventually post all of that on YouTube for free, which is really great. You just have to wait long enough. But then, there's a catalog of 30 YouTube videos that I can sort through, which is really great to keep up with stuff. Julie mentioned getting some of the credentials. Have either of you done any online courses or micro credentials for keeping up with things?
I did one through Kansas State University for business analytics and got a micro credential through that. And that was interesting because at the time it was coding, which I do not do in my job. It was coding for data analysis. But with AI becoming more ubiquitous, I was like, oh, wait, I can use what I learned and not have to actually do the code, but know what to tell AI. And AI can write the pandas code and I can get to what I want. Now, fingers crossed, AI doesn't hallucinate, but like that's a weird thing where one professional development opportunity built on another one that now I find, have found a way to incorporate that in work.
Yeah, I haven't done any micro credentials, but what Julie mentioned to start the episode, the Google certifications, so Google Ads certifications and Google Analytics certification every year.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a developing area. As Julie said, she did the one at K-State, and I know that's something that's going to be a big push to create more of these. So definitely something for people to keep an eye out on if they can get a credential or just take an online course that are shorter than a full, 4-year college course that you can sort of catch up on different areas, I think is really great.
And Lord knows, or I should say, and land knows that they market to me because I always get these, become a digital marketer in 10 weeks. I'm like, brah, I've been one for 10 years.
Also, I'm skeptical. 10 weeks does not feel
Doesn't sound long enough, right?
runway to
Yeah.
be an expert. That I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing better than getting an email for the job that you do. I get so many that are like asking to redo our website, or if we need search engine help, and it's like that's what we do.
That's kind of our whole thing.
That's kind of our thing. Awesome. Any other final thoughts or things about keeping up with trends or professional development?
This is nerdy, but I'll just say I really enjoy it. Like, everything is changing all the time. I mean, if you think about life 5-10 years ago, things are different. And if you don't lean into and embrace change at the professional level, I think you're doing yourself a disservice. You're smart and you deserve great things. So get out there and learn.
What Julie said.
Yeah, it definitely can be scary, especially with all the website stuff. It seems like it moves so fast, and with the AI stuff, that trying to keep up seems like you're just losing ground. But to Julie's point, like, you do your best, and you sort of need to if you're going to do good work and work in this space.
Well, and if you don't do it at all, then you'll be stuck. So
Right.
Trying to keep up and maybe falling short is certainly better than not trying and being completely left in the past.
And often, like, people think of taking classes as getting a grade and maybe failing. And like, when you're in the professional sphere, that really no longer exists. That gets taken out of the equation. There's no worry of failure. You just get to learn. And some things we're not going to learn. Like, what's the social media algorithm? Great question. Here are smart things that you can do on social media. That's the way around, we're not going to know everything, but.
Right. That's a good point. Just being able to enjoy it is nice.
Yes. And the classroom setting, I think for a lot of people would be a great push and regimen, because it is hard to prioritize this. And if you're struggling to carve out time, I think a specific class would be great because you're forced to do it. You have to Julie's point, you don't have to, I suppose, do anything because you have a job, but it brings it to top of mind, and hopefully you'll follow the schedule that they've set for you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Almost Productive. If you'd like to learn more about what we do at New Boston Creative Group, you can reach us at newbostoncreative.com. You can also follow us on social media at New Boston Creative on Instagram and New Boston Creative Group on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with your friends. And if you didn't like the show, feel free to recommend us to your enemies. Tune in next time for some more office shenanigans, thoughts on trending topics, and marketing adjacent insights. Until next time, we hope you have a productive day.